I'm Jessica Ann Pressler, and you've tuned into Your Traitor Within, a podcast that exposes the brutal truths of healing, self-discovery, and breaking free from relentless patterns of self-sabotage. I'm thrilled to welcome my friend and online collaborator, Barb Eckert. Barb is a yoga instructor and a breathwork healer. Over the past decade, she has let go of the need to please that controlled her for more than 40 years, enabling her to heal and reclaim her personal power. Barb, I am genuinely grateful and honored that you have chosen to share your story on Your Traitor Within. I truly believe your experience will resonate with many and help them confront their own traitor within. Thank you in advance for your openness and honesty. Welcome to Your Traitor Within podcast.
Oh, Jess, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. I've listened to the other podcasts and I resonate so much. And so my goal is to just share my story, and hopefully others resonate and kind of can see maybe parts of me in themselves and kind of glean that I have kind of come out the other side. Obviously, we're always a work in progress. But so I know we've talked about our stories, our joint stories, and my story begins in the womb. I was born to a 17-year-old woman in 1963. And so I was in a foundling hospital for the first 6 months of my life. And then I was adopted by my parents, who told me all along I was adopted and that they truly wanted me. But there was a little part of me that felt like, yes, they wanted me, but someone else didn't. And so this core wound I feel I had of abandonment really played out in a lot of different ways. And in preparing for this, I kind of went back in and remembered some of the different things. Like, they're small things, but as a child, these small things do add up. When I was 4 years old, my sister had open heart surgery and she was in the hospital for 2 months. So my parents were going back and forth. And at 4, I didn't understand what was going on, but I was at my grandparents, or I shuffled around. And so there was a little bit of that. And then when I was 5, my mother gave birth to my youngest brother. And she was in the hospital with a prolapsed rectum for a month. And so I didn't know where she was. And again, my grandmother kind of flew in, and my grandfather. And then fast forward to when I was 6, and my grandfather suddenly had a massive heart attack and died. And I didn't get to say goodbye, nor did I go to his funeral. So all of these small things of people like leaving, and specifically my grandfather not coming back, kind of gave me these little feelings of, okay, people are going to leave. And also being told to be the good little girl. And I would get a lot of praise when I was considered the good little girl. So I really didn't feel like I had my voice. I said things from a very young age that I knew others wanted to hear. I would be that good little girl. I wouldn't create any problems. And over the years, it turned into this place where, jokingly, my husband called me the biggest PP and people pleaser. Because what would happen is I would be in a setting and I would be like a chameleon. I would be in a work setting and somebody would say something and I would agree with them, even though I really didn't agree with them. So really what I was doing is I was giving my sovereignty, my energy away to make them happy. To
feel safe? Did you feel safer?
No, I did not feel safe, but I was trying to make them feel safe. I was trying to smooth the path out for them, because what did make me feel safe is not having those uncomfortable conversations. Because if I had an uncomfortable conversation, I was afraid people would leave. They wouldn't like me.
That was my point. You were doing something to feel in the end that you weren't going to be abandoned.
That was it. But I didn't see it for many years. I actually saw this as a bonus. Like, I'm keeping the peace. Everybody's happy around me. And what I was doing is I was stuffing down myself, my authentic self,
Mhm.
to please others, thinking that what I was creating were these connections that people liked me, but they didn't like me. They liked this person that I had created. So, what I was truly looking for deep down, I realize now, was deep, meaningful connection. So now I realize that in not speaking my truth, I had very surface friendships. I had people I would know on the soccer field or people I would know in work. And I wouldn't necessarily engage with them outside of those events. And so I would say they were acquaintances. I could say, hello, how are you? I know different things about them, but I didn't have a deep, meaningful connection because there was another part of me that I've come to find is the fear of opening my heart, right? So my heart was very guarded.
Mhm.
I liked people. I love my husband. I love my children. But other than that, I really created very surface connections. So I am blessed that you are one of my very, very good friends that I've kept in contact with, but I'm going to be very real. I did not keep in contact with any of my high school friends um, or beyond because there wasn't that deep connection. So when I look at it now, I'm creating deep, meaningful connections with people now because I am speaking my truth. And to go back to that time where in my, I want to say mid to late 40s, um, it really hit me because what was happening is I was getting physically ill.
Mhm.
So I was getting shingles. I've had shingles quite a few times on my back, and that's a stress induced um, disease. And so going back into that space, I realized what I was doing is I was almost telling these white lies, these little fibs, like, oh, that's just going to make them happy. But what it was doing is it was taking a toll on my energy, on my body. Because in those little white lies or fibs or whatever we want to call them, I was compromising myself. And I feel like what I was also doing is attracting different people, specifically in work situations, that would kind of take advantage of me. So I almost feel like I was giving off this frequency of desperation.
Mhm.
So I kind of was open to others kind of taking advantage of me. People would get promoted, um, and people would kind of backstab me. And I thought, oh my goodness. And it happened more than once. And looking back on it, I realized I actually enabled that because I didn't have those boundaries and I bent over backwards and I would help someone and they would get the promotion. And it was,
That was your, that was so that's your traitor within, that part of you.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. And over helping, over committing, at the expense of myself, not only emotionally, but physically. So I want to fast forward to this kept happening. And um, I kind of hit the age of 50 and I was like, something's going on. I'm just not right. And so at the age of 52, 51, 52, right around there, I got very, very ill.
Mhm.
I got Graves' disease, which is hyperthyroid. And it is a disease that you're put on medication. There's different things. And it created a space where I realized I wasn't speaking my truth ever, ever. I was performing. I was this child that was performing. I was this adult that was performing. And finally, getting this diagnosis
Mhm.
was earth shattering because I was going to be on medication for the rest of my life, possibly having my thyroid taken out. And the side effects were heart palpitations. It was quite immense. And I know I've told this story, but I found myself in breathwork and the yoga community. And I took a class and I was like, this is fabulous. And on my third class, it was like this energy that had been like pent up in my throat kind of escaped. And it was so freeing, yet at the same time, it was quite unnerving
Mhm.
because for me, I was this little performative person. And now this wall, this fakeness was
Mhm.
basically taken away from me. So I then got into breath work and yoga and mindfulness, meditation, which allowed me to ground myself and allow me to find myself, in this road. But I want to just reflect back that during that process, there was also a lot of grief.
Mhm.
Because once I actually came to that realization that I had literally been compromising myself for 40 plus years, there was the grief for the why didn't I figure this out sooner? Why didn't I? And so I had to grieve quite a bit for that lost time, that lost space,
The lost self.
the lost self, the
Mhm.
lost connections. Um, but mostly it was the time. I was very envious of people who are on this journey, who are in their, late 20s, early 30s. And I'd be like, oh my goddess, I wish I was that, that young and I figured all of this out. But that wasn't my path. And I've come to grips with that and realized this is where I'm supposed to be. And I really honor that person I was, because that person I was has given me so many lessons. And I just I just honor it because that's where I'm at this point. But there is a grieving process when you find your traitor within, when you confront your traitor within, and you start to um, heal and go on the healing journey. Because I noticed it was a pattern that I would repeat with my family, with my husband, like I said, with my coworkers. And sometimes I would slip back into that pattern. And the minute I did, I would immediately get the red flag. Somebody would kind of try and take advantage or kind of press a little bit further. But the other thing, too, was when I did notice this and create those beautiful boundaries
Mhm.
and speak my truth, I got a lot of pushback.
Mhm. Well, because you were a people pleaser. You did what they wanted. So now they're not liking it. Maybe, they're uncomfortable. They want the
Mm-hmm.
person that was doing everything for them or, taking care of their needs only. So,
Right. So when you confront that traitor within, there is, and I'm going to say this for me, there was a loss of quite a few friends.
mhm.
There was people who just could not accept my authentic self, me speaking my truth. And I realized that that was my journey, that they were not really meant to be there. They were meant to be for a season and a reason. And they were there to show me my traitor within, to help me confront that.
Mhm.
And then it was my job, along with my therapist, with breath work, with yoga, and with my meditation practice, to go and kind of uncover me and bring that forward. And it did. It created some issues in my marriage. My husband was like, who is this person who all of a sudden has this voice? And we've worked through it. I mean, we had quite a season or so, be very honest, and it was beautiful that we got to move through that. And I say now, and I just said to him the other day, we're having a conversation. I call them clearing conversations. And it's, when something might be just kind of bringing up, And these are conversations I never would have had 10, 15 years ago. I say, can we have a clearing conversation?
Mhm.
And what that means is, let's just talk, no judgment, no throwing blame, no throwing shame, but let's just talk something out. I wouldn't have done this 15 years ago. But having these uncomfortable conversations now to me are the most comfortable conversations.
I'm so proud. Yeah.
So if you want to have a conversation with me, you're going to have conversations like this, because this to me is authentic. This to me is sharing your true self, not putting on the mask, not
Mhm.
sugarcoating it. We all have things that we've gone through, and I'm here to tell you that, was it easy?
Mhm.
No.
Mhm.
But with help, definitely finding a fabulous therapist,
Mhm.
finding fabulous friends. But when you find yourself, Jess, it was as if, like, when I raised my frequency and became into myself, all of a sudden people who were like kind and loving and genuine were put in my path.
You're
And
true.
I can say, because that's what I exactly, yes, what you are sending out is what you're going to attract. And I can tell you in all honesty, like, I have the best set of friends, and like, my heart is just so full. But it was challenging, and confronting that traitor can be that challenge. But now that traitor has a seat at the table, because I acknowledge
Mhm.
that I would not be the person I am today without that traitor. That traitor does not have the steering wheel anymore,
Right.
but it has a seat at the table.
She taught you things.
Exactly.
You've taken what you need from her, from what she's taught
Yes,
you, but you can put her there because you have the steering wheel. You have the control of yourself.
exactly. Exactly.
And
Thanks, Jess. That's perfect. Yeah.
I do believe the trader, so I want compassion for yourself and compassion for your trader because I truly believe that she, he, they, but for me, it was my
Mhm.
she, is there with good intentions. She is there to protect you. She just doesn't do it in a way that's healthy.
So I also want to reflect that my trader was very young, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, most times it's a story that's created based on a very young mindset, and and then the story just snowballed. At least it was for me, and it just created this momentum. And so now that I've embraced her and told her that she has this seat, she doesn't need to, like, I do find myself every so often, because we are humans, right? I do find myself kind of every so often, I'll see her like nudge, and I'll be like, it's okay, I've got you, it's okay, you can rest.
Mhm. Right. You've given, you've done, I'm here. I can take care of it now.
Yes.
And I mean, I look at her, but I think people can look at her differently as a part of you, even if you want to use the term inner child, but along with, comes out of trauma, comes out of a need to, in some way, to protect yourself that may have worked as a child, but does a disservice in your adult relationships or however it shows up in your adult life. So, thank you for trying. Thank you for your attempt to do a wonderful thing for me to protect me. But I don't need you now. I got this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can handle this. And you, which is being, let me be me. Let me now shine. It's safe for me to be me now. And
Exactly.
and
But one thing is, for me, it took a pretty serious illness to confront this. And, some people would say, well, and my husband joked, he said, you're a people pleaser. And I kind of was like, yeah, I make people happy. So I kind of turned it around a little bit. Um, so it's acknowledging in a way that this part of me, jokingly, it was kind of made as a bad part.
Hmm.
And so I kind of pushed it down even more when things like that were said. Unknowingly, now I know why, because there was shame.
Hmm.
There was shame of being caught, kind of thing. But it did take that physical disease for me to really acknowledge and take that step back and to go within. And I am so blessed that I was able to do that. And again, at any age, it doesn't matter how old you are. People are like, "Oh, I'm just stuck in my patterns. I'm stuck in my habits." I'm here to tell you, at any age, because we do have this one beautiful, magical life. And even if you only have 10 more years, 20 more years, however many more years, that's 10 more years that you get to be yourself. So I'm going to encourage anyone who feels, oh, that might be a little challenging. Just take those small, tiny steps. Find a therapist, find a yoga class, find a breathwork teacher, find a good friend that you can have a cup of coffee with, that you feel comfortable talking about maybe some of these things, and have a small, uncomfortable conversation with someone you trust and love.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And it's in those small, small things, because this doesn't happen overnight. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't happen overnight. And like I say, I'm 10 years in on this, and there's still times where I'm telling her, it's okay, you can sit down. You can
Right.
sit down.
That's exactly right. So you get triggered at times. People get triggered at times. You maybe get scared that if you don't people please or do, or you just get used to it. It's part of who you are, which I believe the traitor is. It's either a voice or a part of who we are. It may come out and she may come out, but you can tell her when you recognize her that, you know what, I got this. Go back to your
Mhm.
seat, relax.
That's, what a great point. It's the awareness.
Yeah, it's key.
That that's key. So this was after a breathwork journey that was really pivotal. It was about 8 or 9 years ago, and I called it cracked open. Do I trust this process, or do I go back to the old way? I now see the old way didn't serve me or others. Family, friends, everyone got the fake me. The old me cared too much about what others thought about her. So much time and energy had already been lost creating a person that others molded. So now that I am cracked open, why not trust and follow my path, my journey, and meet my authentic self? What have I got to lose? Absolutely nothing. What have I got to gain? Everything. I have myself to gain, embracing me, loving me, becoming me. I'm excited to meet me.
Oh my God, that is amazing. Really wonderful, Barb. Oh, I want to hug you.
Thank you, my love. Thank you for letting me tell my story.
Thank you for sharing, being vulnerable, for having such great insight. Truly, you're going to help so many people by telling your story, and I really appreciate it.
I love you, sweetie.